Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my mid-year book tag. I love watching a mid-year book tag. I love watching any type of book tag or any type of wrap up. So I'm so excited to be filming this video for you today. I've written down some questions from a few other people's videos that I have watched, and I will leave them in the description if you would like to answer them yourself or use them as well. Before we get into talking about all of the books and answering those questions, I wanted to talk about how my reading goal is going so far this year. For 2026, I picked 35 books to read for the entire year, and out of those 35 books I have read 23 of those. I actually read 29 books altogether last year, so I think I'm doing pretty well for this year at 23. In June, I'm actually ahead of my schedule. That's what it tells me on Goodreads anyway. I'm actually 7 books ahead of schedule, so I am doing pretty well on that front. I'm aiming to read at least 4 books a month. Now I have read like 3 books a month in April because I was kind of in a little bit of a slump, but other than that I have actually read 4 or more books each month so far this year, which I am happy about. That's where my reading goal is at, and I'm very happy with that. But let's get into chatting about the books. And the first question is the best book you've read so far this year, and I had to kind of pick 2 for this. I think they're on the same level but in different ways. So one of them is Furybound by Sable Sorensen, and this is the sequel to Direbound. This book was a 5-star for me, my first 5-star of 2026, which was so exciting. I was waiting for that 5-star this year for so long, and this book gave it to me. I just loved every second of this book. From the first page I opened it kind of jumped straight into a bit of action, which I really enjoyed, and it kind of caught us up really easily and like quickly and naturally, I suppose, as well, from what was happening when we left off in Direbound. And I was grateful for that as well, because I kind of forgot what happened and I needed a little refresher. I don't want to give too many spoilers away for Furybound because of course this is a sequel and it will just give too much away for Direbound. But basically in Direbound we are following our female main character Meryn, and in Meryn's world there is a war going on against siphons and the bonded and the direwolves. And the bonded are the people who have a direwolf who go to the war. The bonded are also kind of a little bit more wealthy and they live a better lifestyle than Meryn and the people on her level and the people she lives around and her family. During this war, the siphons have started to infiltrate and come in to Meryn's world and kidnap the children from their beds when they're sleeping. And Meryn has a younger sister named Sayla, and I think she's 12 at the start of Direbound. She's basically trying to protect her from these siphons, and she starts to teach all the children how to protect themselves if a siphon comes to kidnap them. One night when Meryn isn't watching, her little sister is kidnapped from her bedroom and taken by the siphons. Meryn then goes on to say she needs to get her sister back and she will do anything to do that, and she basically has to enlist in the army and become one of the bonded to help her sister, because she thinks her sister has been taken to the front line with the siphons and she needs to get there, but the only way she can get there is be in the army with the bonded. But that's not where she wants to be. We basically follow her going through that journey, and she has to go through the bonded trials. It's quite gory, I would say, compared to Fourth Wing in ways. I know it's kind of giving Fourth Wing with the like bonded trials and all of those things, but I would definitely say it's more intense. The descriptions of things, I think that's what I'm trying to say. But I just loved it. And Furybound picks up right where we left off from the end of Direbound, which was such a cliffhanger. I was like, I need to know everything that is going to happen in the next one, and I had to wait like, I think I had to wait like 6 months for this or more even, and it did not disappoint. I really loved Furybound. Honestly, like the world building, the politics got more in this, but it was easy to understand. I really enjoyed that. And then the found family in this grew as well, and I love a found family trope. Oh my god, it's one of my favorites. We also got more of the romance in this, but it is still the slowest of slow burns. But I love a slow burn romance, especially when it comes to a romantasy, and I just love this book and I would definitely recommend. This is definitely one of the best books I've read so far this year. So I did add another one to this because I just think it deserves to be here, and that is The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. And guys, I loved The Correspondent so much. This was also another 5-star for me, and it was actually a surprising 5-star because it was a 5-star straight after Furybound. Like, I read Furybound, that was a 5-star, and then I was like, okay, this is my book club pick for May, so let's just read it, and it was a 5-star. I just loved it so much. I just loved how this book was written. It's basically following a woman named Sybil, and she's a bit older. I think at the start of the book she might be like in her 60s. We basically follow her corresponding with people, so the entire book is written in her letters and emails to people, and it could be like the most random thing. Like, she could be complaining about something to like a customer service email, then like a kind of friendship develops through that, or like another storyline develops through that, and you learn about these other characters through Sybil. There's like no dialogue, which is insane because it didn't feel like that either. It felt like Sybil was talking to us the entire way through. I just loved it so much. I couldn't put it down. I loved Sybil. I loved how human she was and how real she was. It did make me cry. I shed some tears at the end, and I knew it was coming when it happened. I was still shocked, and I was still like, no, this cannot be happening. Even though she wasn't like the best of people in parts, and she did and said things that she shouldn't have done and said, but I think that's why she felt so human to me, and that's why I loved her so much, because she was just herself, and she knew in certain times that she was wrong, and even though she was quite stubborn in admitting that, she did, and I think that's a very human experience as well for a lot of people, so I just loved it. The best sequel I've read so far this year, I had to double up on this one because Furybound is actually the only sequel I have read this year, so I'm going to say Furybound is the best sequel I read this year because it was my first 5-star of the year as well, and I just loved my journey with that book. The next question is new releases you haven't read yet but want to. So I have a few for this one, but one of them is The Someday Garden by Ashley Poston, and if you know me, you know that Ashley Poston is one of my favourite authors ever. I have a specific shelf for my Ashley Poston books, and I just adore her writing so much. I think I read The 7-Year Slip by her first, and that was like 2-3 years ago now at this point, and I instantly fell in love with her writing style and the way she writes characters. Her writing is so poetic in a way, and the sentences she comes up with, I'm like, whoa, that's like really impactful, and I just loved her writing, and I've loved every book of hers that I have read. All of her books for me are a 4-star and up, so that's all you need to know about Ashley Poston. This is her newest release, which literally came out, I want to say 2 days ago now, and this came in the post yesterday. This basically follows a girl, her name is Sophie, I believe, and I think she's spending a summer in like an old house or like an old hotel maybe. I think she's trying to revive it. There is a garden at this old house, hotel, building, whatever it is, and there is a man stuck inside this garden. Ashley Poston's books are magical realism, so there is an element to that in all of her books, and that is the one to this. Her books keep you guessing until the last page, so you're like, how are these characters going to end up together, because they are all romances as well. I think this will be on my July TBR maybe, hopefully. Another new release I'm really excited to read is Into the Blue by Emma Brodie. Now, this book I actually soft DNF'd at 150 odd pages. Now I'm going to explain myself. The only reason I soft DNF'd this book was I had just finished The Deal, the first book of the off-campus series. I had started watching the show, and honestly I think I was on my second watch of the show, because every time I picked it up I did really enjoy the parts of this book that I was reading. I was connected to the characters when I was reading the book, but I didn't have any desire to pick it up, because when I picked it up and when I was reading it, all I could think about was off campus, and I was like, okay, I think I need to soft DNF this right now. It is a book that I have high expectations for, and I think I will really enjoy. I'm not going to enjoy it in this mindset that I'm in, so I put this down. I read the second off-campus book, and I'm now slowly coming out of the off-campus phase for the moment anyway. I had to soft DNF because I was like, I'm not going to enjoy this the way I think I'll enjoy it. In this, we're basically following two main characters. Ali, no, not Ali. Is it Ali? No, it's AJ. Here, why did I say Ellie? Is that because of off campus? We are following the two main characters, AJ and Noah. The first chapter kind of shows them kind of in the future, and then it goes back to them meeting and kind of developing their friendship. Where I left off, we had jumped a little bit further where they didn't see each other for a while. They are put onto a movie set together. There's definitely a reason why they stopped talking, and something happened where Noah kind of disappeared, and we don't know why. I wanted to give it what it deserved, and I don't think it was going to get that when I was in that headspace. So yeah, Into Blue is up on the list like as a priority for July, I think. And then the last one for this question is Our Deadly Summer by Emer. I can never say her second name, I'm so sorry. It's Lysett, I think, and Sarah Breen. This is a new release from two of my favourite Irish authors. They wrote one of my favourite series, the Aisling series. They have come out with this new book this year, but I think it's going to be a very different vibe to the Aisling series, because the Aisling series kind of just follows a girl going through her 30s and kind of like normal, like everyday Irish life. It sounds very, very different. It says here 2001, it was supposed to be the best summer of their lives, a break from university, from parents, from wasting their time on Irish boys with farmer tans. They'd imagined flirting with Ryan Philippe, who's that? I don't know, on a New York rooftop. Instead, with summer jobs waitressing at a country club on Long Island, pickings are slim. Mikey is a bully, Macro is off limits, Jose is angry, Mr. High Tate is a sleaze, Josh is too keen, and other Josh, he's something else entirely. It's a miracle only one of them ends up dead. Dee is pretty sure she didn't mean to kill him. Laura, to her credit, never asked. Not until she sends an email out of the blue more than 20 years later, it's finally time to mend the biggest heartbreak of that summer. Laura wants her best friend back. There's obviously some sort of mystery element to this, which is very different to the Aisling series. So I'm gonna go in thinking and try not to compare it, but I'm really looking forward to this. I love a little bit of a mystery element to a book, so I'm excited about this one. Most anticipated releases for the second half of the year, one of them being The Burning Side by Sarah Demoff. I read The Bright Years earlier on this year. I really enjoyed that book, and I really enjoyed her writing style and just how fast paced it was and how emotional it was as well. Following a character driven story like that, I really enjoyed. I don't know much about The Burning Side. I'm pretty sure it's following another couple again, and I think there's a fire in their house, probably spanning over a few years in the aftermath of that, because that was what The Bright Years was like. It kind of followed a couple and then their life basically throughout their entire life. I'm really looking forward to The Burning Side as well. Then of course we have ACOTAR 6, which is crazy to even say. Like, there's no title even or cover at the moment, and I'm pretty sure this comes out in September. I feel like ACOTAR is like the classic romantasy that gets you into like romantasy. That's the book series that got me into romantasy anyway. So excited to see the continuation of this series. What I can see, ACOTAR 6 looks like a shorter book, so it could be another novella like we had. A Court of Frost and Starlight was a little bit of a novella, and then it kind of warmed us up to having Nesta and Cassian's story for A Court of Silver Flame. So I think this could be like a little bit of a warm up to potentially Elaine and, I don't know, is it Elaine and Lucian? Is it Elaine and Azriel? Who knows? I don't know whose team I'm on. I don't know. I'm probably on Azriel's a little bit more. And then the last anticipated release for the rest of the year is also this random Fourth Wing book that has popped up that I have seen Rebecca Yarros talk about, and I've seen on TikTok a few times. This again is not going to be the next Fourth Wing book, but I think it's going to be a little novella. I don't even know. There's no title and there's no cover to this. There's no explanation of what this book is about either, and I'm just so intrigued to see what this is going to be about. Some people are saying this is going to be like the missing, what was it, 12 hours? People are saying it's going to be the point of view in Zayden's brother. If you know, you know. That is definitely one I'm so intrigued by, because it just popped out of nowhere and I was like, what is this? When I read Onyx Storm, that last page, when I tell you, it had me flip that page and I was like, that can't be it, that can't be it, that can't be it. I'm so excited about that one as well. Biggest surprise of the year, definitely for me, was The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. I have a reading vlog on Magnolia Parks. Feel free to go watch and see my full thoughts on Magnolia Parks, but just know I did not like it. I really didn't like it. It was a 2.5 star. I don't even know why it was 2.5. It should have been just a 2 star. And it was mainly because of the characters. They were all so messy. Oh, like, don't even get me started. I just did not like Magnolia Parks. I was kind of scared when I was going into The Conditions of Will, and I had bought this before I read Magnolia Parks, so then I was even more scared. I was like, okay, I've just bought this book and I just don't know if I'm gonna like it, because is it just Magnolia Parks or is it Jessa Hastings writing? But I was pleasantly surprised by The Conditions of Will. So in The Conditions of Will, we follow our main character, Georgia, and she comes from a conservative small town in South Carolina, and at the start of this book something happens and Georgia has to go home, but she's kind of like, I just don't want to go home. She basically doesn't like her family, doesn't get on with a lot of her family apart from her brother. She kind of finds it hard to go back. Her family pushed her out when she was younger, and she lives in London now. And it basically is just a whole entire book of messy family drama, but messy family drama with so much depth and so much more than just drama and like, oh my god, this is kind of like reality TV style drama like I felt like Magnolia Parks was. There's so much more like depth and reason why these family members are so toxic, and there's so much more to their dynamic, I suppose. Georgia can kind of read people really well. She's studying to be like some sort of psychiatrist. I can't really remember fully. She can read people's emotions and what people are really thinking just by their facial expressions and their body language, and we see her inner thoughts and inner monologue with that as well. So we are learning more about her family members and the other characters in this book through her and how she knows them and how she can view them, and it's so interesting. I really enjoyed that part of this book, and I just really like Georgia. I really liked her as a character. There is a little bit of a romance in this as well, and I would kind of say it's kind of insta-lovey for the context of this book. It's not the entire main plot, so I didn't really mind it as much. I was shocked that I even enjoyed it because I really just did not like Magnolia Park, and I would probably recommend it. I don't know. The next question is favorite new author, debut or new to you? I kind of really haven't read too many new authors this year. I would definitely say Sarah Demoff would probably be a new favorite author of mine if I like The Burning Side. I do think I will enjoy that book because I enjoy The Bright Years so much. And then I'm going to say Brooke Averick as well because I just finished Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It, and I really enjoyed that book, and I loved how she wrote that. I do think I will like any book they write because I like their writing style. Newest fictional crush has got to go to Callum Dempsey in The Matchmaker by Catherine Walsh. Guys, you know me if you watch this channel frequently that I love Catherine Walsh, and I will talk about Catherine Walsh until I'm blue in the face if you ask me to, because I just love her. And Callum Dempsey is definitely a new fictional crush of mine because oh my god, I loved The Matchmaker, and that man, I loved him so much. A really like calm presence in the story, I would say, because the story was a little bit chaotic and our female main character was a little bit like anxious and kind of in her head a little bit more, but he was just like the calm through the storm, I would say, and I loved him so much, and he was just willing to be wherever the female main character was gonna be. Catherine Walsh just writes a man so well. Also, I've got to mention Stark in this, but from Fury Bound. I'm sorry, I don't want to double up too much, but oh my god, that man, King of Yearning, and he's gonna have to be the king of groveling now. He really is, but yeah, I had to mention him as well. A book that made me cry was The Bright Years by Sarah Demoff. This book is so heartbreaking in so many ways. Like when you think she's done breaking her heart, she isn't. Be ready for another heartbreak, because oh my god, this book had me welling up in moments that I didn't even think I would. Oh my god, it was just so emotional, and you see such a real human story again. Like the correspondent was so real and human, this also was, and these characters were sometimes just not the greatest, and you kind of just wanted them to be better, but you could understand why they were the way they were as well, and why they were doing what they were doing, or why they had certain secrets that they were hiding from other people in their lives. The ending made me cry. It was just such an emotional roller coaster and such an emotional time, but I really enjoyed this book so much. A book that made me happy was Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It. Guys, I just finished this and I loved this book so much. I love Phoebe. I love her story. She's like the most vulnerable and probably like one of the realest characters I've ever read about. In this book we are following Phoebe Berman, and she is 30 years old. Well, she's about to turn 30 years old, and she is a virgin, so she's basically on a mission to lose her virginity before she turns 30. But she's also a very anxious girly. She has anxiety, she has OCD, thinks about or does throw up when it comes to intimacy. I feel like that's just not talked about enough and not represented enough in a romance book. You always see like the confident female main character, which I love to read as well, of course. You never really see someone who's a little bit more anxious and a bit more like scared to be in an intimate situation. I feel like that's very normal to feel that way and to be that way as well. This was written in such a way that it just shows that so well and represents it so well for someone who might relate to that and might relate to Phoebe in all of those ways, that it is normal to be that way. It is normal to feel that way. It did make me happy because I loved Phoebe and I loved her journey. I loved her getting to a point where she was okay with where she was in life. As the story went on, that's what the story was more about, rather than the romance and rather than her losing her virginity. It was more about just her accepting where she was and accepting that she's on her own path and accepting that, okay, she's an anxious person, she has OCD, she has all of these things around intimacy, but it's okay. She doesn't need to be in a certain place because her friends are, or because she's 30. Do you know what I mean? Loved that. I loved that message behind this book. And as an anxious girly myself, I related to Phoebe in so many ways. And I would definitely highly recommend it. I just adored it so much. The most beautiful book you have bought this year. Okay, so I'm including this one in it. Now, I didn't technically buy this book this year, but I did pre-order this book last year and it arrived this year, so I'm counting it because it is the most beautiful book that I have gotten this year. And that is my Fairy Loot edition of Diarybound. Guys, you need to appreciate this book for a second because how stunning. We've got the front cover with Merrin and Anassa on the front, which I just can't get over. You've got the sprayed edge as well. The naked hardcover. Oh, it just keeps getting better. It just keeps getting better. You've got the end papers. This is definitely the most beautiful book I have bought this year. I don't even care that I didn't buy it this year. I've received it this year, so I'm counting it. Technically speaking, I have bought the Fairy Loot special edition of Furybound as well. So I could include that in here and I'll put a little photo on the screen, but I will not be getting that for a long time. The next question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I've got a few books here that I need to read by the end of the year, so I'm going to really quickly run through. First one being My Friends by Frederick Bachman. This is actually on my TBR for June. I don't know if I'm going to get to it. I'm thinking about picking it up next. I'm not sure. I'm kind of in between books at the moment, but this is definitely one that I need to read by the end of this year. I'm really looking forward to reading this. I've heard so many good things about this, and my friend has also really enjoyed this book at the start of this year, and I trust her the most, so I think I'm going to also really enjoy this book. This is basically based around the painting on the front of this book, I'm nearly sure. We follow a young girl, her name is Louisa. She buys the painting in an auction, I'm pretty sure, and we kind of learn about where the painting came from and what inspired the painting. The books are stacking up behind me. The books are really stacking up behind me. Another book I need to read by the end of this year is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I have high expectations for this. I don't know why. I think it's because everyone I have seen that has read it has rated it a 5-star and has cried at the end, so I'm really intrigued by it. This is following, I'm pretty sure, an astronaut, and there's a love story. That's all I really know about this one. I also need to read Remarkably Bright Creatures by the end of this year. I'm aiming for the end of the summer for that one because that's one I've just had on my radar for a long time and I would really like to get to. And of course the Netflix movie is out now and I've been trying to avoid watching that. From what I've heard, I think it's best to read the book first, and I always love reading the book before I watch something. I think that's about a woman who develops some friendship with an octopus because she's working in an aquarium as a cleaner, but I think there's like a bit of a mystery element to it because it's her son has gone missing or something like that. That just intrigues me as well, and I've heard really good things about that. And then the last one on this list is The Crimson Moth. The Crimson Moth has been on my radar for over a year now and I just have not picked it up yet. It's a YA fantasy and it's basically like true enemies to lovers. I think it's about a witch and a witch hunter. He is the hunter, she is the witch. He doesn't know that she is the witch at the start. I'm not sure. It just sounds really good and I think I will have a fun time with it, and I've seen really good things about it also. I'm looking forward to this, and I've talked about it in a lot of my videos that I would like to read this and I want to get to it, so I think it's time. I need to read this by the end of the year. How many 5 stars have you had so far this year? So I've only had 2 5 stars in 2026 so far. One of them is Furybound and the second one is The Correspondent, and I'm on a mission to find more 5 stars. Like, how have I only had 2 5 stars? It's actually kind of sad. I don't know if I'm just like gone harsh on the rating of books or I'm just not picking up the right books this year. I don't know what it is, so I really need to be tactical with the books I pick up, and that's why there's a few like anticipated releases and stuff that I want to get to because I think they will be a 5-star. Books I would like to reread this year, on the top of that list is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. Again, I love Ashley Poston and this was my first book of hers I read and I adored it so much, and it was a 5-star. so I would really like to get to it. I would really like to reread it. I think it was on my April TBR to reread, but I never got around to it, so I'm hoping I pick it up during the summer because I think that's the perfect time to read this book. And then I would also really like to reread ACOTAR before the ACOTAR books come out, maybe even the first 2 or 3 books, because I kind of have a fresh memory of A Court of Silver Flames. I would like to read ACOTAR and maybe Mist and Fury. Maybe just do an audiobook reread, especially coming up towards the new release. A book I enjoyed with mixed reviews, I'm gonna double up again, I'm really sorry, but that is going to be Furybound. From what I've seen online, people are not happy with how it like concluded. It was, I will agree, rushed towards the end, I would say, but I am trusting in the authors and I think there's a reason why it was rushed. I don't think we're finished there. From a reading perspective, it's kind of annoying for a book to be rushed, especially when the main thing that they're doing the entire book just ends within a few pages really. I do think there's so much more to that and we are going to get the conclusion to that in the 3rd and I think final book. 5-star predictions for the rest of the year. I'm going to really quickly run through these quick fire. Into the Blue being one of them, I already talked about that. The Burning Side again would probably be a 5-star prediction for me because I really liked The Bright Years and I think I'm really gonna like The Burning Side. The Someday Garden by Ashley Poston, of course, I love Ashley Poston. The last book of hers I read was a 5-star as well. I just think she has potential to have 4.5 to a 5-star for me every single time. Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, I do think that could be a 5-star for me. I don't know why, I just have a feeling because of what I've seen maybe. I don't know. My friends, all the ones I am kind of anticipated about and that I want to get to, I think could be a 5-star. Also Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. This is kind of a rogue one, I just added in here at the end because I was like, do you know what, I've seen such good things about it. It's more of like an emotional romance, an emotional story, and there's more depth to those characters, the journey they're on, and I love reading a book like that, so I think that could be a 5-star for me. That is my mid-year book tag done and completed. It was actually really interesting going back and like picking the books for each question. You kind of have to really think about it and like remember your reading experience, which I really enjoy. I like to reminisce on all the books I've read and sometimes I'll sit there and I'll think about the books I read and I like a storyline or a plot line, or like even sometimes a sentence will come back in and I'm like, oh my god, remember that happened, remember that character. I don't know, I just love reading. I just love reading. Thank you so much for watching. If you have gotten this far, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments some of your answers to these questions because I would love to know. Hopefully I will see you very, very soon in my next video. Bye guys.